hello, or should I say namaste, from India. Something a little bit different this week. I was recently asked to go on the Sounds Like Liberty podcast with Nick and Lizzie Picone. They were most gracious hosts. Most people are when they have me on their show, but let's say, especially so. Hope you enjoy episode 108 of the Scottish Liberty podcast.
All right, well, we are here with a guest I'm super stoked about. This is Mr. Antony Sammeroff, and we're going to get right to the questions because we don't have a ton of time.
Thank you so much for having me on your show on Sounds Like Liberty, and it does sound like liberty in the air tonight. I'm certainly looking forward to it.
And he referenced Phil Collins within the first minute.
Well, there you go. He's on top of this music podcast thing. This is awesome. All right.
What's the Phil Collins?
In the air tonight, my friend.
Oh no! It's even it's referenced in an Eminem song, isn't it? But I kind of wish he hadn't. Phil Collins kind of makes me. In fact, this is quite a funny true story for those of us in the Tom Woods Show donators group. He posts a picture of his daughter in a Phil Collins t-shirt, and I actually left a comment #child abuse.
Oh,
so that.
I remember.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I was the one that asked him, was he as bad as I expected him to be?
Oh.
Look, I like Phil, but he doesn't have it anymore. Even if you do like him.
He probably should have stuck to playing the drums, although not from his perspective. Obviously, he probably made a lot more money as a singer. But the kind of trashy pop music he came out with. Oh, I'm not a fan, put it that way. If you hadn't guessed. So, now we know what I don't like.
So if I ever get really upset with Antony Sammeroff, all I have to do is start posting memes about how something happened on the way to heaven
to
Antony Sammeroff, and it'll start a feud.
Oh no, you need to be careful what you say, because this can actually become a thing, where periodically or every day some libertarian thinks they're really smart because they post the Phil Collins meme on my wall. These libertarians love to meme.
It's true.
They don't need any encouragement.
It's true. We have a problem.
I have lots of problems. I don't know if memeing is one of them.
I went to Shitposters Anonymous.
So, what exactly do you do out there within the Liberty sphere for anyone who might not already listen to your podcast?
Well, there's people who don't know Antony Sammeroff yet. What the hell?
I know. I don't know anyone who doesn't, but they're possible.
It's crazy. It's true. Well, some people know that I'm the co-host along with Tom Laird, of the Scottish Liberty podcast. We have a pretty funny show, I think. We've been told that people like it by our fans, that people like it because we take subjects that could otherwise be quite dry and we laugh about it. I definitely think that I've become much quicker in terms of humour as the show's gone on under Tam's influence, because he's a really funny guy. And so we talk about sometimes current affairs. We sometimes have guests. We've had people like Jeffrey Tucker, Tom Woods, Adam Kokesh, some economists, all various people in the liberty movement as guests, and sometimes we just do the show as a duo as well. So we have lots of fun with that. I'm probably best known because I've been on the Tom Woods show a few times, and that's how people mostly found out that I exist. I have a little book which you can download for free called Universal Basic Income For and Against. You just go to beyourselfandloveit.com/UBI and you can get that. That's my, I think, effort to kind of bring free market economics to the left. Like, definitely, if you know any lefties that are into the UBI, I recommend downloading my ebook and sending it to them. Just email them. It's also available on Amazon, but you don't have to buy it. And my other thing is I'm somewhat known for being kind of like a self-help guy, and I wrote a little self-help book called Procrastination Annihilation, which you can get at beyourselfandloveit.com/do it. So I know it's not good to promote yourself by giving too many links, but I'd say if you download one of my books, you can find links to all my other media in those either anyway. So if you like what you hear of me on this show and you think you'd like to hear more of me, there's the Scottish Liberty podcast.
Yeah, I did actually read your Universal Basic Income book, and I really enjoyed it. I'm going to try and talk my lefty brother into reading it. But I did like in there that you kind of plugged your upcoming government book, and there's an upcoming healthcare book, and you're a very busy guy apparently.
What you don't understand is what he's doing with this is because he made those, talks about them. It means he now has to do them. This is all part of that first procrastinate. You can't procrastinate. He's got to do them. Locked himself into it.
You put your finger right on the button with that. I've been working on those two projects for quite a while, and I thought if I wrote that they were up and coming in this book, then that would give me an extra kick in the ass to make sure I finished them. And they are two of the projects that I'm kind of most excited about, at least in the political sphere. So quite right you are. I've got some more stuff. I've got some more half-finished books to wholly finish. Actually quite exciting about the healthcare book, because I don't know if some of you might have heard of or know Mary Ruart, who was a candidate for the Libertarian Party leadership. She's known for writing a couple of great books. One is Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, and the other one is the new one, Death by Regulation. She agreed to contribute something to that book, so more on that anon, I'm sure we'll hear. Ooh. So I felt really good about that, and she's been great. She was on an episode of our podcast once as well. Really, really lovely lady.
I've never heard anybody say anything negative about Mary Ruart, so
very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
I actually haven't read any of her stuff. My extent of knowledge on the whole medical thing is actually Bob Murphy's book on it.
The Primal Prescription.
Yeah, and I know that I've got a couple people that's our go-to when we're trying to smack down all the BS that the lefties throw at us.
Oh.
Okay, well, maybe I'll have to read that book before I put my own one out to make sure that it's not got any important points that I have to reference.
He focuses specifically on a lot of the economic details, and then he actually promotes a diet in it, which I thought was a little weird, but that's its own thing.
Hey, whatever gets people.
I think he's trying to get people onto a paleo diet for some reason. But
I guess that's what he thinks works for him.
So, trying to naturally transition here, this is normally what I'd say, well, what kind of music are you into? What's your thing? But you did just mention before the interview, so you actually are a musician, you have a band? Did I hear that, or...?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to talk about the band too much yet, because we've not really got anything that people can listen to that I can plug, but that's more been a hobby. Although before I was a counsellor, like a therapist, which is what I do for a living now, I did teach piano for several years. I taught it while I was at uni, and yeah, I went through a period where I didn't really get the chance to play much, but I'm enjoying playing again now. I can bash out something on the guitar, or the keys. I play a little bit of everything, nothing to necessarily an extraordinary standard, but yeah, I enjoy playing.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Fancy. What kind of music do you listen to as a rule? Do you have a specific genre you gravitate towards? Clearly not Phil Collins, so modern pop's not it.
Yeah, I've gone through so many genres. You know, when I was in school, I liked heavy metal, and when I was growing up, my brother was a rocker. I grew up listening to Guns N' Roses, Rage Against the Machine, all sorts of like hard rock and heavy metal bands. I feel like probably my most native genre is when I started getting into my own music and not just listening to the stuff I grew up with my brothers and sisters listened to, got really, really into Queen. I loved Black Sabbath, so like classic rock.
Okay.
I've not got into many new bands in the last years, but I got really into The Who in my 30s. Like I had the best of The Who when I was growing up, and I listened to it and I liked it, but it never excited me. But then somehow I actually got the opportunity to see them play, and in the run-up to that I started listening more widely to their stuff, not just the best of, and I found loads of music that I really, really liked. So I got into them. So I love classic rock. I love, Billy Joel. Like, I like piano rockers. So like, I think Freddie Mercury and Billy Joel, because they're piano and vocals. Not a huge Elton John fan, although he does have some stuff that I like.
Liz, you can tell him. I think Liz is biting her tongue right now, trying to tell you to go listen to Foxy Shazam.
Oh, am I? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a good recommendation.
If you like piano rockers and Queen, you'll like Foxy Shazam. Mm. It's like if Freddie was still around, that's what they'd sound like.
Oh, wow. I'd love to check them out. Yeah, that sounds good.
So, sorry, I interrupted. Yeah. Continue.
Oh, no. There's so many different... I'm more like a favourite albums, man. I know some of my favourite albums, like Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, A Night at the Opera by Queen, First and Last and Always by the Sisters of Mercy, who are a British 80s
I know who Sisters of Mercy are.
Yeah.
I think that's technically our second Sisters of Mercy, isn't it?
Might be.
Because I think, didn't Mike Maharry have a Sisters of Mercy album?
I feel like they've come up before, yeah.
Or was it Mance Raider? One of the two.
Oh, well, someone was a goth.
There you go.
That first album they did was seriously incredible.
I was actually in a goth band for a minute, so...
For about a minute?
Yeah, I played bass in a band called Bible Black.
All right, I like it. And what made you choose that name? Because it reminds me of the King Crimson, Starless, and Bible Black.
Interesting. No, I chose it off of a porno that I saw once.
It's
I saw
anime, right?
That that anime porno. I saw. Do you know what? I saw that as well. Can you believe that? There you go. We both saw that.
We always talked
animated porno.
We always talked about going up on stage in like nuns' habits. We were a two-piece.
Right.
We just went with an electronic drum machine. I played bass, and then we had a guitar player singer, and we were just gonna wear nuns' outfits and just play dark, heavy, brooding music. We never quite got there. We were both a little flaky in that project, but
sounds fun anyway.
It would have been fun.
It sounds fun. I like how you named it after an animated porno. Oh, I love The Doors as well. They were one of the bands that I listened to so much.
Okay. Do you have a soundtrack moment in your life where some moment that's just inextricably linked to a song?
I feel like the whole of my teens, well, the latter half of my teens from about 14 to, probably 14 to 19 was all categorized by music. I just listened to so much music, and I never stayed with one genre. I'd always be like, I remember meeting someone on the street that I'd known back in school, and they'd been like, I'm forming a death metal band. And I was like, wow, are you still into death metal? And they were like, oh yeah, totally, like so much. And I thought, it'd been a few years since we'd left school, and I thought I'd gone through so many genres of music, like electronic music. I dipped into a little bit of everything. Yeah, I kept on moving. I was always looking for new music, trying to expand my horizons. I think I was trying to find... It's really weird, because my life's been categorized by this kind of search to find a missing piece. And I thought that I'd find it in music, but I don't listen to that much music anymore. I always find myself listening to podcasts. It's almost like I know what I can find in music now. And I think, I'm not really answering your question.
No, that's fine.
Thinking my associations with music. I know I used to buy all these books and things like that and never read them because I just loved buying secondhand books. So I thought, maybe I'll read that one day. I think I was just looking for something in the books to say. And now I'm trying to get rid of stuff because I've got too much damn stuff, and it's kind of hard when you're the hoarder type. I'd put all of my CDs in not only in alphabetical order of the band, but say you went to Black Sabbath in my CD collection, all of the albums would be in chronological order. So it wasn't just in alphabetical order of the band, but they'd also be in the year that each album came out. And I was just an ardent music historian. I used to remember which album came out in which order, and this album by this band came out 2 years before that album by that band, and this was important to me to understand how music developed over time. All of this stuff was just of such importance to me. I don't really know why. It was just my way of contextualizing it all. I still tend to remember what year albums came out.
He's your type of music nerd there with the CD collection there, Nick.
I have a pretty ludicrous CD collection. What's funny is I've sold them all off at one point in time or another. But, sorry, I'm a little verklempt at the moment.
Why is that?
I've been sidetracked.
Oh?
My drummer doesn't want to come to practice.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother...
He's done unless we get more stuff going on.
Okay,
but that's its own matter.
So do you get to see live music ever out there in Scotland?
Yeah, there's lots of live music here. We're a bit spoiled for choice in terms of the local music. People don't really appreciate local music here because Glasgow is a city of about 600,000 or higher than that. So any night there's a bunch of local bands on, mostly playing to their friends. So there's not a novelty the way there is. Like, my brother's a professional musician. He tours around playing hit songs and usually goes up north into the Highlands or Islands of Scotland, because there's towns and villages and smaller places where, if there's music, then everyone wants to go out and see it.
Sure.
At the weekend, they want to be where the live music is, so you can get better paid up there. We are a little bit spoiled for choice, but sure, a lot of big bands, when they're on tour of the UK, will hit Glasgow usually. Sometimes they'll hit Edinburgh, which is of course the capital city of Scotland.
Right.
But the population of Edinburgh's a chunk lower than the population of Glasgow, so they usually hit Glasgow. If they're really big, they might, and they're on a big tour, they might hit both. So yeah, when I was growing up, that was it. Like, I loved going out to see the bands I was into. That was something that I really, really looked forward to. And I grew up with a nu metal, so I saw, Papa Roach the first time they were in the UK, Disturbed, System of a Down, all these bands that that became really big or were launching, Linkin Park probably, and all that stuff. I was into that, as well as into kind of 80s, the older stuff that I'd heard when my brother was coming up. I really like pop music, like not all of that, but I love music with a good melody, so I really enjoy listening to like 70s disco. I don't put...
night.
No.
One more night. Like
Really?
melody like that?
Really? That's where we're going with this?
that's where we're going with it.
I mean, the joke's there now.
You can't troll your podcast guest. That's not how that works.
I think that's the only reason I have a podcast.
I don't know. I really think you can. Like, I think if you've got some like libertarian personality on there that's like a bit of a suit, then you might have a harder time trolling them. But
I had a lot of fun with Bob Murphy, I'll tell you that much. So
yeah, he's.
Right.
I don't.
He
care
likes
who it is.
musicals. He's one of my favorite guests because he gets to talk musicals.
He let me pick on the Beatles a lot. So look, I haven't brought up the.
Is he a big Beatles fan?
I haven't brought up the
Murphy's
Proclaimers
loads of fun.
once.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
I do
right.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just for
Do
the
you know
record,
what?
I like the Proclaimers a lot.
You really need to. So you really need to get Tom, like my co-host. We'll actually need to in the future, because we can talk. Because I feel like I'm a letdown because he can so ardently speak about music. But one time we'll have a big foursome, right?
Oh, there you go.
You guys, you two and us two, and some beers, and maybe in fact maybe we can do a Sounds Like Liberty special where we'll live stream it to YouTube on our channel, and we can have webcam and some beers together, and then you can use it, because I just feel like he'd be really funny in this conversation.
Don't shortchange yourself there. And besides,
I don't know if you had as much fun with Bob Murphy as I did, because I don't know if people have listened to my show with Bob Murphy, but it was really funny because I was accidentally stoned on the show.
Accidentally stoned?
That's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
It's pretty impressive because I don't even smoke weed, so. What happened was, it was pretty funny actually. My friend was like, "Hey Antony, man, I've been taking this like cannabis oil. It's like really good for my anxiety. I've had a lot more focus and blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh well, okay, that sounds pretty good. I'll try some of that." I was led to believe that it was like meant to be the stuff that's just got the anti-anxiety chemical in it,
okay,
but not the one that makes you high.
Right.
But apparently that was utter BS. So I took some of this stuff early in the afternoon, and by the time we had the interview, I was like pretty high.
There you go. Right on.
So it's pretty funny. But yeah.
All right. So I guess the real question is, how many times have you seen the Proclaimers live?
Oh, good Lord. That is not the real question.
That's the question I want to ask.
The real question is...
are they somebody's uncle that you know?
Oh, good God. See, this is ruined.
Don't get me trolled. Yeah, I'm ruining...
It's quite funny, actually, because see, when I moved to Leith in Edinburgh, which is an area of Edinburgh, Sunshine on Leith, the Proclaimers musical, was in the cinema at the time, and there was posters all over it, and I used to walk around feeling proud that I was a Leither, which is of course complete bullshit. I wasn't born anywhere near Leith, but I like to think of myself as one.
Nice.
Maybe it was for street cred, because Leith is a much more like down to earth area than the more middle class place that I grew up in, so maybe I thought I had more street cred if I thought of myself as a Leither.
See, this is actually killing me a little bit inside, because I am like the Scotland nerd, and I am on my best behavior here, and Nick is just going...
Yeah, no, I'm shitting all over the excited look that she has in her face that you can't see. She's like, oh my God, I'm talking to a real Scottish person.
Yeah, because I created like a one-person Scots Gaelic club when I was in like middle school, because I was a homeschooler, and so, like, I tried to learn Scots Gaelic over the internet and talk to people in chat rooms and learn Ara and Mitten and, like, all this stuff. And
now she just watches David Tennant. How did you get
into that?
I read a book. It was one of those living books if you're into homeschool in Charlotte Mason. It was called, I think, In Freedom's Cause, because it's always Wallace and Bruce, isn't it? That gets people, like, obsessed with Scotland. And it was about that. And... yeah, it just hit me at the right time or in the right way, and I was just like, for the rest of high school, trying to learn as much as I possibly could about Scotland, and if there was any chance, like a little brown girl like me would be welcome there.
I think she's come to the conclusion she wouldn't be, but that's
well, yeah, I gave up on that a long time ago, but.
Oh, that's a shame. Like I know that some people in America really love here. Like Scotland is very multicultural as well. I mean, it's pretty, yeah. Like even I don't really know where I was going. That I just think it's quite diverse, and I don't know. Yeah, some people do have a little fetish for Scotland.
She has a fetish for hobbits, is really what it is.
Well, and that's the closest I can get to Middle Earth. Like is that the idea?
Well, no.
I mean, honestly,
other Middle Earth.
No, I really love the culture, and I just read up as much as I could about it. And when the whole referendum thing happened, I was like, oh my God, it's happening! And like internally, like my inner child was, but I realized on the outside, like, people are going to have to be sensible, and like you can't just overthrow your whole government.
Yeah, fuck sensibility.
Because Scottish freedom. So
is it working?
Yeah,
Anthony, is it working?
Freedom!
Yeah.
Do you love it? Do you love Do you love Braveheart?
No, honestly, I never liked Braveheart.
Oh,
It seemed like a very kind of cheesy counterfeit sort of, what's that, medieval times version of things, like based on the version that I had in my mind from the
I like that
historical
other
stuff
one that
I
he
read.
did, where he ran around with a hatchet scalping redcoats. That was fun.
Well, the Patriots, a movie that
was a different movie, though.
It's a very different movie. But yeah, no, I couldn't get into it. I haven't been able to get into what's that, Outlander, whatever that one that people are into now.
All right, yeah, I've not watched it yet. No, but I wasn't a huge fan of Braveheart. I guess it was okay the first time I saw it, but definitely I remember going to America 10 years back and so on, and so many people being like, "Oh, Braveheart!"
Oh,
like,
jeez.
do you like Braveheart? And they really loved it. They really loved the movie, and they wanted to relate to me over the fact that they loved the movie. But I just couldn't relate to them because I didn't love the movie.
Well, we're not those people. We'd ask you questions about Peter Capaldi, but
I wouldn't.
So
okay,
quite a lot of anti-English sentiment as well, I think, in Scotland.
Is there still?
Well, there is to a degree, but not loads. It's a lot less. But I was just saying that I think the movie.
Oh yeah.
Braveheart actually provoked a swelling of it.
That makes sense.
That's my perception.
Yeah, and I mean it's not very sensible these days to kind of have too much of that. So
wait, so are you guys telling me that Scottish people don't have face paint and run around tossing logs still?
Well, a lot of people think just because we're Scottish, we don't have. We just basically walk around in the mountains and but that's not true. I mean, we have got bikes now, so we're able to sing.
Oh.
I mean, we finally upgraded from dial-up a year or two ago, which is why I'm able. No, it must be 2 years ago because I've had Scottish Liberty Podcast for 2 years, right? So yeah, so we have upgraded from dial-up. And,
well, I thought that you guys had the most amazing internet service in the world, everywhere but America. Like, we're just stuck with terrible service here.
Yeah, I
because the commies make it great everywhere.
That you guys, well, I mean, that Trump is making America great again, so
So
you might actually get a decent. You might actually get a decent internet service if you're lucky.
It's just gotta come with bullets, right?
Yeah. Okay. So there is one last question that we usually ask, since I've told my whole.
Is it that time already? Are you
well,
trying
no,
to get rid of me?
no, I'm not trying to get rid of you, but I could go on and on about my Scotland obsession, and it's getting nerdy.
Why
now,
don't
so.
you? People out there might not have heard that much about it before.
Well, it was really interesting to me because I actually started doing some research in preparing for this interview. Of all the things that I couldn't sort of find out in like the city library in 1998 when I was into stuff, because I was trying to learn Scots Gaelic through the internet at the time and not realizing that like kids were getting in trouble at school for speaking the language in Scotland apparently, and it wasn't
at that period, or when.
Yeah, I think at that period, or
I think there was a time in this country where speaking it was banned when they were. The thing is, I'm not that up on my Scottish history. Like Tom, my co-host in Scottish Liberty Podcast, really is. In fact, one episode that you'll probably be interested in is a solo episode from him, which is on our podcast feed called A Libertarian History of Scotland or something like that. A History of Libertarianism in Scotland.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up because I still have like those nerdy parts of myself about Scotland because I don't know, I spent so many years just being into it.
You still have nerdy parts, Liz? That's all the parts that there are. I'm sorry. I
know, it's all nerdy, right?
So you were saying that kids were getting in trouble for speaking Scots Gaelic in school.
Well, yeah, that's just what I read since, and I'm not entirely sure. I suppose I could pick Tom's brain about that, but it just seemed really interesting to me because I was thinking, I'm going to learn this language and learn all about the culture, and then I'm going to go over there and it's going to be so awesome, and like it probably wouldn't have been that great actually. I wouldn't have fit in at all. But yeah.
And I think my extent of knowledge is just the people that have been actors on Doctor Who. That's all I know about Scotland. That and the Proclaimers.
Good Lord.
Oh, Sean Connery, he was one of the Bonds, wasn't he?
I never registered him as being Scottish.
Really? That's why he sounds like
he's
the way
Sean,
that people like to...
That's bullshit. Sean Connery sounds like Sean Connery.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have ever registered that to a place, just it's him.
Oh.
That's like saying Burt Reynolds sounds like Kentucky or something.
Well, no.
Like
There's
Burt
just
Reynolds.
a bit of the brogue that came through, and I think that's why originally he sounded like... I mean, I think he kept it up because
I
it was
think Sean Connery
but,
sounds like a wife beater.
Well,
like,
I mean...
If you were to just narrow it down to that.
Okay. Anywho.
He sounds like the act of slapping a woman, telling her to make you a sandwich.
There's a whole bunch of famous Scottish bands, and a lot of them sound like they don't have the kind of name you'd expect from a Scottish band.
Well, you introduced me to Camera Obscura. That's a Scottish band.
Yeah, I do like Camera Obscura.
Sorry, go on,
I've heard
Antony.
of them. The Average White Band, who are a top funk band.
White Band is Scottish?
Yeah, they are.
Nice.
In fact, when I was in college,
I'm dropping my
one of
headset right now. This is ridiculous. There's no way Average White Band is Scottish.
They are. They were.
Oh, Jesus.
So much so that when I was in college, an ex-drummer of the Average White Band was teaching drums at the college. Bay City Rollers. I mean, who?
I did know
growing
they
up
were.
in Scotland. Bay City Rollers. I mean, that sounds like the name of an American band. Belle and Sebastian, Biffy Clyro, Big Country, Deacon Blue, Delamitri. I don't know if you remember them. They had a couple of really great hits.
Delamitri was Scottish? I thought they were Swedish.
Yeah. No, they just chose that fucked up name to throw people off the scent.
Okay, fair enough.
The Incredible String Band, Marmalade Mogwai, Primal Scream. Now they're a famous band. The Sensational Alex Harvey Band, which is weird because they were very bluesy. Simple Minds, who you would not believe.
We actually the Hot City Symphony.
They sing so American. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you had something to say?
Yeah, I'm about to blow your mind here.
Simple Minds that do. Don't you
forget
about me? Exactly. That sounds so American.
Well, I heard
Scottish.
I heard the accent doesn't come through when you sing.
I was going to say I can't separate them from the John Hughes movies, so I wouldn't be able to tell a difference.
I don't know if these bands are famous in America, but Texas, they're Scottish. I remember the lead singer used to live around the corner, not far from where my parents stayed. Travis, they were really big in the 90s.
I remember Travis.
The Waterboys, who did that song "You Saw the Whole of the Moon," great lyrics, and "Wet, Wet, Wet," her most.
Okay, so now I have a legit question. Is there like with the exception of the Proclaimers, that Scottish bands don't want to be known as being Scottish? Is that like a thing? Because you named a ton of bands I know right there, and I would have never guessed any of them are Scottish. Never in a million years.
I guess it's just I guess those bands are so famous because they went for widespread appeal, right? I mean, and they wouldn't have been likely to be.
Wait a minute. You said Alex Harvey was going for widespread appeal?
You don't think he was going for widespread appeal?
I mean, the only people I know who listen to Alex Harvey in the States are the same people that listen to Yes and Genesis, and let's just say that's not a lot of people.
Okay.
I'm actually in a band called the Hot
true.
City Symphony, and we cover that song. So like, it's a prog thing to me. But
they're well, okay. But you listen to, it's very interesting because you listen to the original Framed, their song Framed, and he's basically singing like a bluesman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if you listen to live versions for like 10, 20 years after the song came out, he's allowing his Scottish accent to come out. And there's, versions of him on YouTube where he's like, singing, they said, I was going to impersonate him there, but I can't quite do it. But, he's saying, they said, "Is your name Alexander?" And I said, "Well, why, sure." But he's saying it in a Scottish accent, not so, not so not laying on the American accent so thick. But yeah, he was born in Glasgow, the same city that I was born in.
Interesting.
That's crazy to me.
That is super interesting. All right, well, since we've rattled off a bunch of artists as it is, you might as well give us your 5 albums that you wish folks would go out and buy, if you could just make them do that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hey, you're the one that said you're an albums guy, so...
I know, I used to have a list of them. Okay, so I think 5 favorite albums: Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses.
I'm surprised not the spaghetti incident.
No, that's no one's favorite. Come on.
I was seeing if I could catch you off guard.
Okay.
Rage Against the Machine by Rage Against the Machine.
How do you feel about them being commies?
Sorry, say once more?
I said, how do you feel about them being commies?
Do you know what? I'm just willing to overlook their communism on that album because the riffage is so good.
Okay.
The riffage is so good.
Just for the record, you actually interrupted when we were right before you called. We were analyzing the Tom Morello track off of his album, The Atlas Underground, that either has just come out or is coming out soon. He has a song called Rabbit's Revenge with Bass Nectar, Big Boy from Outkast, and Killer Mike on it, about all the police shootings of black people in the U.S. And I talked mad shit on Tom Morello because fuck that guy. But,
Why fuck that guy?
Oh, well, I think he is a trite guitar player, and he's a piece of shit governmental guy.
He's a trite guitar player?
Yes. He's a one-trick pony. Liz, why don't you explain what you think of this?
See that one trick that he does? That one trick that pony does? That one trick that pony does? Really, really fucking good trick.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough.
No, I remember being 15 and really being into it.
Yeah.
For me, what it boils down to is... And I'm like, oh, okay.
But no, after the first Rage Against the Machine album, he was like the other Rage Against the Machine albums after that one. Like, you could add up all the good riffs on the next couple of albums, and some of the songs on the first album had that many good riffs in one song.
Okay.
Like, he put so many good riffs in one song on the first album, but he never topped that. He never got anywhere near it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
and now he just runs his mouth a lot.
So maybe we just need to listen to the first one. Maybe
it's a good album.
That's what the thing is.
I can't dispute the album. It's good.
Yeah, I think like Battle of LA had like 3 tracks that were particularly worth listening to on it.
If you like Fuck the Police songs, go and listen to Rabbit's Revenge though, because
Rabbit's Revenge.
You know, Big Boy and Killer Mike just let the fire fly. Whew, it's hot.
Hot takes. Okay, do you have maybe 3 more to throw in that list?
Okay,
Night at the
I'm just
Opera.
these are my all-time favorites, but they're one that kind of left an impression on me because I'm not really into punk music, but I thought it was really well handled. Is Out Come the Wolves by Rancid.
Nice.
Really love the bass playing on that album. Really, really, really loved that album.
Good
I always remember it. Did Matt Schrader mention that album as well?
No, Matt Schrader did not. I had to say Matt's because we talked about Fuck the Police earlier.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He's really into posting memes about police being responsible for brutality. He's never done posting about that.
Just for the record, my brother's a cop, so I
I
waffle between washing my mouth and being overtly angry about it.
I just leave comments on Mance's memes saying "peg until proven cop."
What I can say is that there is something cathartic about when you listen to some police violence thing go down, to having a cop you can call and say, "Fuck y'all, motherfuckers! This is bullshit. They can't fuck you." Yeah, it is very cathartic.
There you go.
And Lance goes, "What happened now?"
What did happen?
All of the things.
Oh, I don't know. What was there was something this week, wasn't there?
There's always
somebody who got killed by a cop.
It sucks, but yeah, it's pretty ridiculously common. Okay, so we've got Outcome of the Wolves by Rancid.
Okay, now I keep on losing track of where I'm at.
You did mention A Night at the Opera.
A Night at the Opera. I love Queen's first album as well. There's 4 Queen albums that I just think are legendary. A Night at the Opera, A Day at the Races, Queen 1, and Sheer Heart Attack. Like, those 4 albums, oh my god. So just so well arranged, so well written. There's bands that I just don't think are that album. Like, I love Billy Joel, but I can never say this is the one album. I'm not so keen on his ballads, and more cheesy stuff.
50
but
Seconds
he's a really, really good songwriter.
Yeah.
See, there's tons of stuff on that album I don't like. I prefer The Stranger, but it's got some really good stuff on it. Piano Man's got some great stuff on it. I love his 1993 album, his last album, River of Dreams. That's a really awesome album.
Not the choice
I didn't like
this.
Yeah, no, but it's just really it was a difference in style for him, but it was really good.
Liz was listening to Shades of Grey off of that earlier this week.
Oh, what a tune! Yeah.
Yeah, I can't drop the Billy Joel off of my list, but there are some songs that I don't listen to, but I can't drop them all together. He's got too many good tunes. He really does.
I love Billy Joel, so
yeah.
We've been doing more Billy Joel in the set lately, so I'm happy about that.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, he's a really great songwriter. And yeah, again, The Doors, they had 6 albums, but they put them out in 4 years. So I feel like if they'd taken the best songs off those 6 albums and released 4 albums, they'd be stronger albums. But I guess it's hard to choose one. I mean, it's like choosing between your children, But I know probably the first one, The Doors, the self-titled one, Strange Days is a good album, and obviously LA Woman is a lot of people's favourites, and it's definitely got a lot. I love the song Love Street, and I think that's on the album Waiting for the Sun, so maybe Waiting for the Sun was my favourite. It's been a long time since I've listened to
I thought you were a hippie. Why not Peace Frog?
I can't even remember how Peace Frog goes right now.
It's awful.
I'm not. How many hippies that are in favour of free market capitalism? Do you know what I mean? I'm not the one that says I'm a hippie. Other people. What I'm saying is other people have the perception that Antony Sammeroff is a hippie.
I see.
Well, I know that I am a tree hugger, an avid tree hugger, in fact. But that's just because you can't find any person that's willing to hug you. So, I mean, I'm married, and frankly, I'll go and say I'm married a black woman, so that's got to be worth something, right?
Is that worth something?
Jesus
I'm not sure.
Are you trying to collect some kind of reward for that?
Absolutely, that was the point. Clearly,
I think she'd like to believe that you married her because you were in love with her and liked her personality.
I married her because black women have great asses. That was it.
Is that what it's all about? Well, you know that libertarians are all about the assets.
It's true.
I'm still trying to work around. I love getting called racist. It happens all the time because I'm a libertarian. That's always fun. Also that I hate the environment, even though I'm an avid environmentalist and know that libertarianism the only way to fix all of our environmental issues. I'm a hippie. I'm all about it.
Well, I think that'll do for the list. We did plug the book a little. We could plug it some more. I enjoyed reading it. I did. I read it. I read it and then I listened to it on this audio reader thing but I dug it.
Do you feel like you were a little too okay with UBI, in that
no,
you had anything nice to say about it at all?
Well, no, you were trying to be open-minded about it. I got that impression.
Well, what I'm saying is I know my audience.
Yeah.
And it's not. Frankly, it's not for people like you. No, I'm just kidding. No. Well.
Oh, I get it. You're one of those Nick Sarwark type libertarians trying to bring the commies over. I get you. Trying to make the Libertarian Party less libertarian.
Don't you ever? How dare you compare me to Nicholas Sarwark? I am never coming on this show again.
God damn it, Nick.
I have been on every libertarian show going and independent level, and never before have I been so insulted. I've been called all sorts of names. Tom, on the Scottish Liberty podcast, my co-host, regularly makes anti-Semitic comments at my expense, but never before have I been so insulted as to be compared to Sarwark.
Oh, good thing we're making jokes.
It's because of you. It's because of you, people like you, that this movement is so split. People who have people on their show and compare them to Nicholas Sarwark. How dare you?
I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know if I can prostrate myself any better against that.
So yeah, I mean, it's the book
I get
is
you
written with the. I mean, I'm speaking to libertarians, right, about the book, but really the hope is that they enjoy the book and they learn some economics, but more importantly, whenever anyone mentions the UBI on Facebook, they say, hey, check out this book.
Yeah.
It's like libertarians who know Antony Sammeroff are going to like the book. Do you know what I mean? They're going to like it. So it's not them I'm so worried about. I want to build credibility with the reader who has to feel that I at least understand. If someone is I don't need to speak to people who are anti-UBI because they're already anti-UBI.
Right.
It's the people who are pro-UBI that I need to have in mind when I write it. And the idea is to show that I understand where they're coming from before I then demonstrate why I differ. And I think it's a well-written book. And if anyone's interested in an introduction to libertarianism that is on the left, I think it's a great introduction to libertarianism because it goes hard on the benefits of libertarianism to the disadvantaged, or it goes very strongly on the human welfare angle. Like, it's got a lot of libertarian policies for helping everyone, but particularly the least well off. And I think it's those kinds of arguments that appeal the most to the left. So yeah, download your free copy from beyourselfandloveit.com/UBI. I believe you can read it in under 2 hours. I remember when I read it back, I was pretty impressed by how quickly I could hack through it. So it's not a big time commitment, but I think it's quite a strong piece of writing, if I do say so myself. I think it was worth writing, and I think I did a good job. I kind of hold myself to pretty high standards. So.
I think anything that helps put more tools in the toolbox of libertarians, especially in anything that can break them down in a concise manner, because I know as a libertarian, the biggest problem discussing anything with anyone is always, how do I get to the answer I need them to come to without telling them to read 15 books?
Yeah. And I think this one, in my view, is a good intro to libertarianism for your friends on the left. So get it, it's free. It costs you nothing. Not a single penny.
You don't think you could make some money out of it?
Actually,
what
do you know what?
terrible free market capitalist.
Well, actually, a whole bunch of people have bought it on Amazon, even though I put it out for free. So, haha, suckers. I'm just kidding. Some people bought it off Amazon because they wanted to support me. Some people bought it because they wanted it ready formatted for their Kindle. So, but it's nice. I feel good.
Did you do the audiobook version?
See, thank you for asking. That's in the pipeline. Someone has volunteered their time, and they're in the process of creating the audiobook.
That's awesome.
It's true.
I volunteered to read an audiobook once.
Yeah, I really...
Did you actually do it?
No, they won't let me. They never got back to me about it.
Why?
Wow.
That makes me die a little inside. How could they do that to you? How could they reject your generosity?
Personally, I just told them that they needed to. I continue to berate them that they need to do an audiobook version.
So
because
perhaps
I'm never going to read the book unless there's an audiobook version, because I don't have time to read books. I listen to them while I drive.
Oh, you're too good for books. Is that what it is? You're too good to read.
No, I can't read. That's what it is.
Oh.
I'm illiterate, thanks.
That's really... Well, I mean, you are a product of the American education system. It's not entirely your fault.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed the book, and actually I really appreciated the way that you put the book out, because you could listen to the talk that you gave. That's sort of the book stems from.
Mm-hmm.
You could read the book itself, which is really well written and really kind of dense with information, but also really fun to read. I found it, and you could read your blog, which I read your whole economics blog, and kind of get bits and pieces of it there. So it was really cool to just kind of see how all of these like desperate pieces kind of came together.
For those who aren't
to
aware,
make this
Liz
super
is a
big
bit of a completist
chunk.
and will research everything to death.
This is true.
That's great, but I mean, I can't. What can you say to someone who turns around and goes, "Oh, by the way, I've read every blog you've ever written." Well, I mean, thanks. You know what I mean?
You say,
that's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're a little creepy. She's my creepy wife. It's okay.
It's pretty good. Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I know. Well, I mean, I'm sure that if you had a blog, she would have read all of it too. So, don't get jealous or anything.
If you want
to
know the truth, I don't know that she actually has read all of my blog, and they're not very long posts.
I've read it.
I think she just doesn't care.
I've read all the things, but
I just talk about music.
No, she doesn't read it, because if she starts reading it, she'll have to read all of it, and then she'll have to read all of it.
Well, based on the length of my writing,
that
would take about 15 minutes, I think, maybe 20.
Yeah, I've read all of the things you've read, and I've heard all of your music, and that's saying something, because not everybody's
No, most people haven't listened to any of my music, Liz.
So there you go. Anyways, yeah.
I've had a good time here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I've had a really great time.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Go myself.
Yes.
Because I've got another show coming up.
Yeah, apparently it's 10 o'clock at night over there.
Yeah, he's got to go do stuff. But thank you so much for being on.
Thanks so much for having me on Sounds Like Liberty. A real pleasure.
And for us too.
We had a laugh as well. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.